If you've been following this channel, you probably already know about how insane lift ticket costs have become over the past few years. But there's an even more tragic story when it comes to ski industry pricing, and that's in the cost of getting a lesson. Learning to ski or snowboard has never been cheap, and private lessons at the highest end resorts have always cost hundreds of dollars, even for a single day. But in today's world, these one-day rates have skyrocketed to truly impractical levels, making for lessons that most guests could only dream of affording. In this video, we'll go through the 10 highest one-day ski lesson prices at today's North American ski resorts just to hammer in how crazy this circumstance has gotten, and we'll also give you our tips on how to avoid paying these atrocious rates. If you find this information helpful, be sure to like this video and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can follow along for exclusive content you won't see in our videos. Enjoy! First up on this list, we have a tie between two mountains that are on opposite sides of the coast but appeal to similar clientele. Idaho's Sun Valley and Vermont's Stowe both stand out with well-rounded slopes, family-friendly atmospheres, and high-end experiences, including luxury on-mountain facilities, especially in the case of Sun Valley, and modern lift fleets. Perhaps it won't come as a surprise to many of you that lessons at these upscale mountains are pricey, but what might be surprising is just how expensive these one-day rates can be, topping out at a staggering $1,299 for a private lesson at both mountains. If you want to go on an off-peak weekday, you'll get a discount, but it won't be much, with full-day lessons starting at $1,049 at Sun Valley and $1,119 at Stowe. It's also worth noting that the Sun Valley rates apply to both its main Bald Mountain and beginner-oriented Dollar Mountain areas, so you don't get a lesson discount for this much smaller footprint. And finally, neither lesson includes lift access or equipment rentals, so if you buy your access the day of, you could be spending as much as $1,518 for one day at Stowe and $1,544 at Sun Valley, and that's even before you pick up your equipment. If you don't want to splurge for a full day lesson, you can go for a half day offering at both Stowe and Sun Valley, which, unlike the full day lessons, are available both in private and group formats. Private half day lessons are somewhat cheaper than full day, but they're still outrageously priced if you book one-on-one instruction, going for around $800 and $900 at both mountains. If you want a remotely palatable lesson price at either of these resorts, you have two options. First off, you can go for a group lesson, which starts at around $150 for off-peak weekdays at both resorts. Secondly, Sun Valley allows up to 5 skiers or snowboarders per private lesson, while Stowe allows up to 6 people, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. Up next on this list, we have Colorado's Winter Park, which boasts one of the most family-friendly footprints in the state, but lessons that don't necessarily go for family-friendly prices. You might get a well-rounded range of beginner to expert terrain, including groomers, blades, and moguls, but a full-day one-on-one lesson is not even close to cheap, topping out at a whopping $1,372 if you buy the day of. Like with Stowe and Sun Valley, a lesson does not come with lift access, so with all things considered, you could be looking at an entry cost of up to $1,631, all for a single day. If you don't want to find yourself throwing down this much money, private half-day lessons go for around $800 and $900, while group half-day lessons go for around $200. In addition, Winter Park does actually offer a few ways to get fairly reasonable lesson access if you book early enough, with 5-pack lesson packages that go for $699 on sale through mid-December, and $99 early access lessons for intermediate to advanced visitors that let you up the lifts at 8 a.m. with an hour of private instruction. Finally, you can split your private lesson with up to 4 people if you want to stick with a custom instruction but don't want to front the whole cost. When you think of Montana, an especially expensive vacation probably doesn't come to mind, but booking a private lesson at Big Sky completely throws that logic out the window. Montana's biggest and most famous ski resort can be a very compelling destination, offering an expansive skiable footprint of 5,850 acres, highly technical terrain, and a distinctive aesthetic crowned by one of the most iconic resort peaks we've ever seen. But when it comes to one-on-one private instruction, the rate is far less compelling, with a regular full-day lesson going for as high as $1,350. A regular lift ticket is not included with this package, so you could find yourself spending nearly $1,600 for a full day of access. However, for those who want to take it up a notch, advanced and expert skiers and riders can go for a specialized tram guides lesson, which tops out at Big Sky's highest rate of $1,375. This is an eye-watering amount of money, but it's pretty much a lesson in name only, and it comes with a full day of unlimited tram laps. Yes, tram access is actually included with this product, along with your own personal guide to show you around the lines off Lone Peak. If you're looking for a truly unique experience and have a substantial amount of money saved up, this might be the only 4-figure lesson on this list that's, dare we say, worth it. As with the other resorts we've covered so far, you can split the cost of your private lesson with up to 5 people. In the case of the tram guides lesson, you can only split with up to 3 people. But unlike every other resort we've covered, Big Sky does not offer half-day adult lessons, and the cheapest group rates start at $295, which is the highest entry-level lesson price in all of North America. Next up on this list, we have Northstar, a Tahoe resort that's known for delivering a generally satisfying, albeit ordinary, overall experience for the region. Given Northstar's commercialized, ritzy feel, it's not especially surprising that the going rate for private lessons is steep here, but the cost will still catch some of the most spendthrifty visitors off guard, with full-day private lessons topping out at a staggering $1,421 during peak times. If you didn't pick up your ticket ahead of time, you could find yourself paying an absolutely absurd $1,690 for a single day of instruction. Like most Vail-owned resorts, Northstar prices its lessons variably by date, with lower prices on off-peak dates and higher rates for more popular dates. Still, Northstar's private lessons are not cheap no matter which way you cut it, with better values that can be had at Kirkwood, Diamond Peak, and even Homewood. The resort does offer group lessons, but they're only available for beginners and intermediates, so advanced and expert skiers and riders will have to splurge for private instruction, or, as we would recommend, look elsewhere. If you are wedded to Northstar, the resort allows up to 5 people per private lesson, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. Next up, we have Breckenridge, a popular Colorado I-70 corridor resort that offers a lot to like. Breckenridge is popular for its large footprint, striking and easily accessible high alpine bowl terrain in large, walkable town. But you might want to think twice before getting a private lesson to explore this high alpine footprint. Single-day private lessons top out at a lofty $1,450 per day, a figure almost as dizzying as the elevation at the top of the resort itself. Since lift tickets aren't included with the lesson cost, you might find yourself paying as much as $1,729 for a single day at the window. Breckenridge does employ a demand-based pricing model for private lessons, and it also offers half-day offerings, but no matter what, if you go for a private lesson, you're spending at least $850 for a single lesson during the course season. If you're not looking to spend this much, consider group lessons, which are actually priced fairly competitively at Breckenridge. Or if you're set on taking a private lesson in Colorado, you can find better one-on-one values at Eldora and Loveland, which are smaller but located a bit closer to Denver, or by venturing out to Monarch or Wolf Creek, which are located in southwest Colorado. In addition, Breckenridge does allow up to 6 people per private lesson, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. If you're watching this video, you're probably intending to go on a ski trip this year, but there's nothing more exasperating than planning that trip, especially if your plans were just upended by these insane lesson prices. Enter Peak Rankings Trips. We can plan everything about your ski trip, including accommodations, lift tickets, and even finding you a mountain with reasonably priced lessons. To book a consultation, click the link in the description below. Now, back to the video. Long Utah's go-to guest-oriented ski resort, Deer Valley is best known for its standout hospitality, upscale lodging, and its ban on snowboarding. If all this sounds expensive, that's because it is, and private lessons are no exception. If you want full day, one-on-one instruction, expect to pay a whopping price of up to $1,470. Paired with a lift ticket, which isn't included, you could end up paying nearly $1,800, all for a single day. Half-day private lessons aren't cheap either, going for between $780 and $950 depending on the date and lesson time. There is one somewhat reasonably priced private lesson offered by Deer Valley, its Intro to Skiing lesson, which is designed for true first-timers and goes for between $220 and $240. However, this lesson is only 1 hour long, which makes the price a lot harder to swallow. Deer Valley also offers half-day group lessons between $260 and $310, but this is still a whole lot of money to spend on this type of instruction. At least if you want to split the cost of your private lesson, Deer Valley allows up to 5 skiers in most of their offerings, with only the first-timer lesson having a cap of 2 people. But even if Deer Valley's white glove guest experience is a priority to you, you'll definitely find better values elsewhere in Utah. However, one of the places you probably won't find this better lesson value is at Deer Valley's neighboring resort, Park City. This massive ski resort, which spans a whopping 7,300 skiable acres, stands out for its widespread footprint, incredible terrain parks, and lively, conveniently located ski town. Unfortunately, the resort also distinguishes itself with its high prices. Park City is already on track to charge one of the highest priced lift tickets for the 2023-24 season, and its private lessons are similarly lofty in price, topping out at an astounding $1,479 on peak dates. Combined, if you buy your one-on-one instruction and lift access the day of your lesson, you could end up paying a devastating $1,779. No full-day private lesson at a Utah destination ski resort will go for a truly bargain basement rate, but if you want one-on-one private instruction, we recommend skipping the Park City area entirely and hitting some more reasonable destination competitors. If you're set on Park City for your lesson, you can go for a group lesson for between $167 and $259 during the course season, with the final price depending on your date and whether you bought an Epic product for lift access. Additionally, Park City allows up to 6 skiers or riders per private lesson, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. Coming up next on this list, we have Steamboat, which is the northernmost destination ski resort in the state of Colorado. This resort is generally competitive, especially standing out for its glades in nearby ski town, and while it's historically suffered from crowd flow issues and limited expert terrain, considerable investments for this season promise to address both issues. But one issue the resort probably won't be addressing anytime soon is its absolutely monumental lesson prices, which top out at $1,499 for private instruction during peak times. Group lessons are quite a bit cheaper, but there aren't any half-day options, and while the starting price of $259 during the course season isn't bad for the instruction time you get, this base rate is a lot higher than the entry-level offerings at other destination competitors. For the best deal on instruction, Steamboat allows up to 5 people per private lesson, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. Next up on this list, we have Mammoth, which at just 300 miles from LA is one of the most convenient mountains to reach for those located in Southern California. And despite its convenient location, the mountain is no slouch, with diverse, extensive terrain, a distinctive mountain aesthetic, and a long spring skiing season. But while Mammoth's location may make it a compelling proposition for Californians looking to sharpen their snow sports skills, guests will want to think twice before booking a private lesson. Learning to ski or ride here with a dedicated instructor will cost an obscene fortune, with one-day adult rates topping out at $1,600. And if you want a full access lift ticket, buying the day of could cost you a mind-boggling $1,859. At least Mammoth's group lessons, while still very expensive, are much more reasonable, going for between $175 and $300 per day depending on your date, length, and skill level. And Mammoth does allow up to 5 people per private lesson, so you may be able to split the costs if you have others in your group. And at least if you do pay for Mammoth's full-day private lesson on your own, you can rest assured that it's not the most expensive one-day lesson in North America, the honor of which goes to... At the top of this list, we find not one, but 2 Colorado resorts, Vail and Beaver Creek. Both mountains are owned by Vail Resorts and offer the exact same pricing structure for every one of their products, and that includes lessons. And when it comes to their full-day private lessons, rates top out at an abominable $1,654 for peak dates. If you need a lift ticket the day of your lesson and you're visiting in March or over a holiday period, you could find yourself paying for one singular day of instruction $1,953, a nearly eye-gouge-worthy total. Group and private half-day lessons can be had at discounts, but they're still the most expensive among those offerings on the continent. Vail and Beaver Creek are class-leading ski resorts, but unfortunately, that also extends to the price of private lessons. So that's the list of the most expensive ski and snowboard lessons you can buy in North America this winter. Okay, yeah, most people won't be paying for the truly white glove full day, one-on-one private lessons that top the North American pricing scale. But the rates even for half day and group lessons, especially when paired with the fact that lift tickets aren't included in the bottom line for any of these resorts, make it really tough to financially justify using a destination ski trip as an opportunity to get into winter sports. And remember, these rates are for a single day, which means that most guests will be paying anywhere between twice to 5 times the amounts quoted in this video for a practical ski vacation. But does that mean that learning how to ski or snowboard is completely unaffordable no matter where you go? Absolutely not. While not cheap, many local hills offer half and full day instruction for much more affordable rates, ranging from around $40 for a few hours of group instruction to a couple $100 for one-day private lessons. And if you're still learning to ski or ride, you certainly don't need a big destination mountain to build up your fundamental skills. Also, if you want to get your child or teen to learn how to ski, you can probably get significant discounts on these rates. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's this. If you plan on doing a big destination ski trip, you're not super confident on the slopes, and you have any ski resorts within driving distance, try to get a few local lessons in rather than emptying your savings account on big mountain instruction. What do you think about these prices? Have any tips for saving money on lessons that we didn't cover? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. For more information on booking ski lessons in over 90 North American ski resort destinations, check out peakrankings.com. See you for the next one.